Welcome, Laura. I'm so pleased to have you here today. Thank you so much for connecting with me and talking to me. This is not our first time chat, is it?
No, and I'm so happy to be having this chat with you. I think we instantly connected when we first had a chat. Like there's some sort of universal spark there going on. And I think, yeah, we really just hit it off and really could feel each other at such a deeper level and like that meets the eye, And I think we could really just tap into that soul energy of what we've each been through, which are very different, but the feelings are often sometimes very similar.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. We shared our stories with each other, didn't we? And it was just so deep, so open, so natural, so connected in sort of a first proper discussion. And we just felt so comfortable to share. And that really touched me. I found a lot of value and beauty in that in sharing with you, but hearing from you as well. And I was
Mm.
so keen to do a pod with you because I think your story is so inspirational. So before I get into that, would you just like to say a little bit about yourself? Obviously, part of my passion, if you like, for inviting people on Evolve with Grace is about hearing, just where people are at, stories of resilience, stories that will, and I know yours will, stories that will inspire others. So what do you do?
Okay, so I'm Laura, and I'm a holistic self-love and empowerment coach for women. I'm also NLP master practitioner, hypnotherapist, trauma-informed breathwork facilitator, and facilitator of women's circles and events and retreats. But it is just my heart-led mission to guide women back home to themselves, back to that true essence beneath all of those layers of conditioning, limiting beliefs, all of these things that are often expected of women, all of the demands, pressure, expectations that are placed upon us by society or other people, parents, teachers, whoever. And we often feel so compelled to live life in a certain way and hit certain milestones. And it's my mission to help strip all of that back and actually find out who it is that they are underneath all of that at their core, what they actually love and enjoy in life, what matters to them, and actually start living in alignment with that rather than feeling like they need to follow suit of everyone else and just live life in a way that doesn't serve them or doesn't feel right in some way. Help them rediscover who they are, but also their values and start living in alignment with that, help them to gain that confidence and really just live life on their own terms.
Wonderful. I love that so much. It's breathtaking to hear that in your, almost in your bio statement. Everything that you do, it's to me, it exudes it from your energy as well. So hearing that you sum it up, but I feel that from you and I love that energy.
Yeah, it's basically an embodiment of where I've been myself. This is why I do the work. The adversity and the challenges that I've faced myself in my own life are exactly why I do this work now, because I wish I had someone like myself being able to guide me, to show me the way, to tell me that it's possible to overcome the challenges that I was facing. But for a very long time, for like a decade, I felt trapped. I felt in the dark. I felt lost. I felt scared. I didn't feel like I could speak up because no one really understood me. And I just spent so many years trying to figure out who I was in life. And I was looking outside of myself for all of it, like for the answers, for the fix. And actually, it turned out that it was the one place I'd never looked, and that was inside myself.
That is so beautiful. So powerful as well as beautiful. I love that.
Yeah.
And I've got to say, you are the living embodiment of a massive myth busting, aren't you, as well, to put it sort of, succinctly. We've been chatting today, Mental Health Awareness Day, and still, sadly, as much as it's fantastic that there's these conversations happening, that there's an awareness day, that there is so much out there now about mental health, yet sadly, there is still such a lot of myth and kind of illusion and kind of barrier, isn't there? Would you like to say a little bit about that in terms of your journey and how you kind of
Yeah.
this message supports others?
Yeah, I do. I think there's still so much judgment, stigma, um, and it and it creates this shame upon people And then just to go into context of the things that I've faced and my own battle is I was diagnosed with an eating disorder, specifically anorexia, in 2009, and it's been a hell of a battle since then. And I think back then as well, it wasn't really something people knew much about. I didn't even know what it was myself. I didn't really know what I was going through, but it was also something not spoken about at all. It was very hush hush. People didn't speak about mental health at all. And I felt so ashamed. I felt like there was something wrong with me. I felt like I was crazy. I had to be put into inpatient and I felt like I was trapped. And you are almost like punished for going through something that you didn't choose. And I think that's the other thing with mental health and mental illness is people think it's a choice that you can just snap out of. You can just choose differently. And it's so much deeper than that. And I also now, like, I never claim to be fully recovered, but I'm living my life and I'm living proof that you can still live your life and heal and be in recovery at the same time. Like the two can coexist. It's not about giving up and thinking that you need to just wither away. It's about taking ownership of yourself and your life and living it in a way that is going to serve you, even if it looks different to other people. Like my life is so different to other people. Yes, it's probably quite restrictive in so many ways from other people, but it works for me. It keeps me alive. I'm enjoying my life. I'm doing all of these amazing things. I have my own business. It's not stopping me now from living my life, whereas before it did, because I was told I wasn't allowed to do XYZ. And now I'm kind of like, yes, I can. And you can too. And I think that's my message is no matter what you're going through, you're allowed to dream big. You're allowed to do the things that you want to do in life, no matter what it is that you're going through. Just reach out, ask for the support, and just honor yourself, honor your own energy, your own capacity, and really just make sure that your life feels good to you, not good to other people whilst being a detriment to yourself.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely. My goodness, there's so much magic in what you've said. And yeah, absolutely. Because we discussed, didn't we, that there's still these boxes and labels out there that are being bandied around. And I think in a time of social media, we're really more aware of that. So as much as there's great things happening, thank goodness, we also have a lot more negative conditioning in our face,
Mm-hmm.
and that's part of your beautiful work. And that is really that kind of bears quite heavy on me, and one of the things I'm quite passionate about talking about as well, busting that conditioning,
Mm-hmm.
because these labels and these boxes that we fit in, and one for you, you've noticed that the message that you shouldn't be doing the work you're doing because you're not, because you're not what, don't class
Fully,
yourself in
yeah,
recovery anymore,
yeah, yeah,
so the suggestion that you wouldn't be still helping other people on a journey, like we're all on a journey for the rest of our lives, right? So
yeah. We are. We all are on a journey, and I think that's the thing. It's also, I just want to point out that a mental illness isn't something that you can see. You can't see
mm,
it. You don't have any idea what somebody's battling or going through. Whilst somebody might be very underweight, you might not know that actually they're getting all of the support and the help that they need on the outside, and they might be trying their best every single day. Just because they're not documenting it doesn't mean to say that they're not trying. But there could be people of like a normal weight or of a higher weight that are actually struggling so much inside. They're going through so much torment, but because they look normal, they're dismissed.
mm,
So often, like I could be, of a better physical health, and I probably wouldn't get the comments or the stigma that I still do sometimes face because of how I look. But this is the thing, this is where I try and bust those myths. It doesn't matter what you look like because anyone can be going through anything. And I think, we have so much judgment and stigma around what certain mental illnesses look like when that just simply is not true because not everyone is the same. And I know that you probably experienced that yourself.
mm. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for me, growing up with a trauma background, and my experience of the impact from mental health through my parents' substance abuse or alcoholism, the impact of that, you know, and the traumas associated with that. And yet I kind of went to school. I don't know if it was always looking normal. There was clear signs of neglect, but otherwise, you know, generally I kind of slipped through the nets, if you like, of services because I'd put on a brave face. And also I didn't want to share. I didn't want to, you know, I didn't want to expose my parent. It wasn't all conscious at the time, but naturally children don't, you know, and we want to fit in. We all want to fit in, don't we? You know, and this is, I think, for throughout all of the ages of life, ultimately humans, we want to fit in and we want to belong. And, you know, and I think that it's really good to have these conversations because it can, you know, bring some light of awareness to some of the issues we face about fitting in and feeling that sense of belonging. And certainly for me, I had a lot going on behind closed doors. So I really resonate with what you're saying in a different way. But, you know, people didn't know of my challenges unless I shared it or unless they came to my home. So, you know, the resilience and that, you know, many people are going through, like you say, the unseen battles or whatever battles. It's everybody can be working through something. So it's really good to bust down the myths of, you know, there's no rules, is there? I mean, and from my example of this in my experience is I really love supporting people with transforming their pain into purpose. That doesn't mean I've like nailed all my pain and, you know, I'm now fully living my ultimate purpose. Like that's a life journey and it's a constant cycle of pain into purpose. Like things will come up again, old traumas will be re-triggered. You know, something will happen with a family member and I'll go through stuff again. Just because I'm, you know, supporting people with their transformation from pain into purpose, it doesn't mean I don't still go from pain to purpose cycles. So it's really interesting.
Exactly. Yeah, and exactly that brings me to the comment that was, you know, made to me not too long ago of you shouldn't be doing what you're doing because you're not well enough yourself. And that is the thing. We're all going through something, like we're all battling something, but actually me going through what I'm going through makes me in a stronger position to help people because I've got lived experience of things, you know, and it's not that I work with people with eating disorders, but it's like I know how to navigate the mindset. I've battled it for so long and I am actually in a really great place mentally, even if on the outside, physically, I don't look as though I am. And that's the thing. It's like, again, it doesn't always come down to how someone looks. And that was what was the worst thing for me is that people could see what the physical changes in me. And I would get called for it. I would get called harsh names. But obviously that's not going to help. And it wasn't a choice. But I think then everybody thought that it was me choosing to be like that. Like, what are you doing to yourself? Do you realize how um thin you look and all of these different things? And so much shame comes with that, so much guilt. And it's like, I don't want to be doing these things. I don't want to look like this, but I don't have the right support around me to, you know, get better, if you will. Even though I've been in hospital many times, it's the same system every time. And it doesn't work and it still doesn't. And I think that's why it's still important to have these conversations because whilst it's great talking about it, more action does need to be done, which is why now I am have become an ambassador for my local mental health charity for Lancashire Mind because I want to be able to give back to my own community in ways that are going to serve them.
That's so beautiful. And I'm totally with you. You know, you're more qualified for your position because of your experience. You're using your
Pain
yeah,
to the purpose.
exactly.
That's what it is. Yeah.
You're turning your pain into purpose and modeling that and supporting other people with it.
Yeah.
It's using our wounds to be the greatest healer ultimately. And there's something really beautiful, really challenging and sacred and beautiful in it. And I really feel you. It's interesting. I've posted a bit of a flippant comment lately, and it's not flippant to the energies that we're discussing and the processes we go through, but flippant in the sense of just to kind of sum it up really kind of lightly one day. I kind of felt like the more shit we've been through, the more epic shit we're here to create. And I just kind of feel like the more challenge we navigate, if we can utilize it, and if we can, like you say, get the right support is key, isn't it? That's massive. Who's around us, that kind of thing, with that self-awareness. But if we can use the experiences that we have to support ourselves and others, then, you know, we can't be doing any better, surely. So,
Yeah.
sorry, go on.
Yeah, I was just going to say with that, like with healing or recovery or anything like that, there's no destination. It's a
No.
constant choice. It's something that you constantly have to choose every single day for the
Mhm.
rest of your life. Like, and this is what I say about self-love, because for me, self-love saved my life. And it's something that isn't something that you arrive at. It's something that I've got to keep choosing, even on the hardest days. In fact, especially on the hardest days, because that's what self-love is about, is being there for yourself when you're going through like the worst times possible, and being that kind friend that you need, that you know you potentially seeking outside of yourself. That's what it's all about. And yeah, there is no destination. So wherever you're at, don't think that don't place me on a pedestal, because there isn't one. It's just basically I've walked the path, and I potentially am at the front of the path with the torch holding it, so you can come with me, so I'm on the journey with you.
I love that as well. I often feel like that, and sometimes post that on the journey with you, evolving with you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're all
Yeah.
in it together,
Mm-hmm.
completely. And yeah, I really love that. It's really powerful stuff, actually. And I think just going back to what you said about services. So for anyone listening who feels like, oh, you know, I've been I've been repeatedly accessing services and I'm not feeling like I'm getting where I want to, because I'll make 2 points here actually. The other one is self-love was a game changer for me as well, more than services. So
Yeah.
yeah, I access
Same.
yeah. So I've accessed different services, therapies, things like that over the years, numerous times for all the trauma that I've been through. And the absolute game changer has been self-love, and some other interventions, you know,
Yeah.
in and out on the way, and still would, you know, would access more. But thinking about how, because like you, I have found services, definitely not all a fit. Bits and pieces, again, some really well-meaning individuals, some really lovely
Mm,
key people at key times that have been very powerful, but generally services as a whole kind of not always fit for purpose.
mm.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so with that in mind, what would you, if someone's listening, and you know, we've definitely identified self-love is, you know, top of the list, and we can maybe talk a bit more about that for tips for people, and sort of building that relationship with self. Um, but in a world where we might be feeling a bit isolated because of the lack of holding in services,
Mm,
what would you
yeah.
recommend?
Well, firstly, I just want to say if you are at a crisis point, absolutely make sure that you're reaching out to the right services, because they will do their job, in that aspect.
Mhm.
It's just that the depths that I've been to within the system have just been just very rigid, and they place everyone in a box. But also, I know if I hadn't have gone to these places or have, whatever, I probably wouldn't be here today. So, I do owe them thanks in some regards, but yeah, there is very little understanding. Like you said, there's some individuals that really passionate and care deeply, but it's not enough. But yeah, I think for me, turning to a life coach for the first time was the biggest thing for me, because that is when I started to get to know myself away from the ED, because all of the therapists focus on the ED, the numbers on the scale, the food, all of those things that actually have nothing to do with it, because that is just like almost like the side effect of what's happening for the reason to, using it as a way to cope. But
Mm,
actually getting to know myself, starting to be kinder to myself, starting to do things that light me up and I enjoy for the first time felt so foreign to me. But in doing that, I started to gain my spark back. And
mm,
that is what made the biggest difference, is when I was able to be that compassionate friend, but also making sure that you're drowning out everything around you that doesn't feel helpful, that feels negative in some way. So unfollowing accounts, it could be, there's certain people in your life that drain you or deplete you, and you're just holding on because you think you should. It's about making sure that you're creating like this beautiful protected bubble around you where everything that is coming in is inspiring and empowering and uplifting, and making sure that you're filtering out all the things that don't make you feel good, that trigger you or whatever, and just really zoning in on what you need rather than what the world is telling you to do.
Mm, I absolutely love that. There's so much magic and value in there for people. Thank you, definitely. And it's little bits each day, isn't it? Because I really
Mm,
found like self-love,
that's
you said it's a practice. And practice being the operative word. Some days I'm definitely not smashing it with self-love. And other days
yeah.
it's like, okay, yeah, life, I feel good again. I can do this. But it's a constant practice, because I think perhaps it sounds like either for me it wasn't modeled, for one, and two, I didn't
Mm,
feel worthy of it for the second.
massively.
So it's not been innately natural to me, hence why it's so
Yeah.
powerful to build. I have to build it in. I have to, else it doesn't happen.
Yeah. That's it. I think when you first start and you're not used to it, for me, like I said, it felt so foreign. I had to do it through gritted teeth because it felt wrong that I felt happy. And I had to push through that because on the other side of discomfort is growth. And you
Mm,
have to feel the discomfort to get to that other side. And it doesn't mean, if you are feeling that discomfort or if it feels so alien or if it feels impossible, don't give up, keep riding that wave. And one of the most important things, allow yourself to feel your feelings because every feeling is valid, every emotion is valid. And you will experience like waves of feeling amazing and feeling really, really bad. But you've got to just allow that journey to flow through you
mm,
and know that it's okay to feel whatever it is that you feel. And you're not going to feel amazing 24/7. And it's also not an overnight transformation. It's just making small micro changes every single day that all accumulate over time into you just blossoming as your best
mm.
self and just continuing to make that choice because you know deep down you deserve better.
I love that. That's so beautifully put. Absolutely. And I love that you touched on emotions, because interestingly, it's something I've written about in my little book. It's a shameless self plug now here, but as you mentioned it on
Love
topic,
that.
my little book that's out.
Love that.
And one of the sections in it, because I cover the holistics in terms of each level of health, and on emotional health, I talk about how this kind of is, again, has been a trial and error process for me, because all my writing is through my lived experience and trial and error, and still always going from grit to grace. The grip from grit to grace never stops, as we were saying. And so in action, I know now that I'm safe enough in my body to process emotions. And to me, like,
Mm,
emotion is energy in motion. It wants to process you to be felt before it can be released. And when we try and suppress or we distract, which we're so conditioned to do,
yeah.
by the whole world still, and since our day one, we have been. So it's such a journey of courage to move differently into a place of safety through the hardships of not having your innate self-love, through all of that and more. And then to go, actually, I feel safe enough in myself to process and feel emotions. Like, that's massive.
Mm.
So, to you and to anybody else who's listening, who's now in a place in their life where they are safe enough to feel, hats off.
Yeah, I just want to repeat, allow yourself to feel because it's important. I think from, like you said, day dot, you tell children, don't cry, don't cry, don't absolutely bloody cry. Like allow
Yeah,
it to come out. Like allow
yeah.
yourself to feel every single emotion. I like to view it as like a beautiful tapestry blanket where each square represents a different emotion because people think you can either feel sad or happy, angry or excited. You can feel everything all at once,
Mm,
and it gets to be beautiful. And no emotion is a negative emotion really, because we have to experience them all. So just hold yourself through it all and know that they will always pass. And yeah, I think just feeling your emotions and really tapping into that is so important because the longer you suppress it, the more you're going to continue to feel worthless or whatever it is that you're experiencing. You have to just allow it and know that it's okay.
mm. Absolutely. Yeah. It's so powerful, isn't it? So, so powerful. And like you say, that the conditioning is that we're suppressed or pushing away the more negative feelings. But like you say, it's a spectrum, isn't it? We're here to experience it all, for the, you know, for the good, the bad, and the ugly. So what a roller coaster ride. We're all in it together. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, we really are. And you'll have to send me your book as well because I would love to read it. So yeah.
Yeah, exciting. So it's a little taster really of the full book, but it's like a little overview, and it's a sample of the first stage of the 3 steps to transform pain into purpose and adversity into resilience. And then it's got a little sample of an oracle deck in the back as well. So I am super excited about it. Lots of mental health in there. So, you know, on topic for today. But yeah, holistic health as well. And I'm sure you'll agree with this. One part of that is, and the wider book is around the fact that when we, you know, look after one aspect of our health, say mental health for an example, we're looking after ourselves as a whole. When one area slips, you know, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, or our energy in the collective, because I like to think about 5 areas of our holistic health, we know that we're, you know, supporting all of them when we look at even one. So
Yeah,
it's
it
that
is.
holistic
It's
approach.
yeah, exactly. That's, you know, that, and that's why I class myself as a holistic, you know, health coach, self-love coach, empowerment coach, whatever you want to call it, because it is, you can't sort of work on one area and expect yourself to feel incredible. It's like, you know, let's take business coach for example. They can work on strategy all they want, and they can try and hit all of these targets and everything, but if they're not feeling regulated within themselves, it almost becomes impossible to reach those targets, because actually they need to work on themselves, how they feel, and you know, really just step into that mindset of, well, who am I? What do I want? What do I need? Because if you are trying to hit all of these targets, but actually you feel so crap and so depleted within yourself, you'll just burn yourself out. So yeah.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely. And this is again where you know, hopefully we're supporting each other as a kind of collective a bit more to be following our passions and things that light us up, as well as not just our kind of targets in those kind of areas. Have I lost you, my lovely? Have I got you still? Oh, I might have lost you.
Don't know
Hello,
what happened
lovely.
there. You just
That's all right.
crashed and then it all went.
We did. I don't know if that. Oh, we're still recording, so I probably just
Oh,
have to
amazing.
edit that bit out. That's fine. Absolutely fine. Yeah. Let's go from the last thing you said, because I felt like I waffled a bit because I was wondering if you were there.
No, I didn't hear anything you said. So I think the last thing that I said was, it just gets to be a beautiful ripple effect and it touches everyone else around us too.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. And that's so powerful, isn't it? The ripple effect. Again, it's something else I write about, in that, again, coming from that place of self-care, the more we've pumped into ourselves and continue to pump in, the more that ripples outwards. And it's fascinating when you hear people sort of saying, and I've been there, that you know, you feel guilty or selfish to take time for yourself. Actually, it's the other way around, because if we're not pumping into us, we're not of much service to those around us and the collective anyway. So
Yeah.
actually it's selfless, isn't it? Selfless self-love.
Yeah. Yeah. And I always say, like, when you're filling your own cup, everyone else gets to feed from that overflow.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. So tell us about a bit more about your new role as ambassador, and also in that, where can people kind of link up and get in touch and get more information as well?
So it is like a very new role to me. So I think we're still at like figuring out what that's going to look like. But I think the aim is really just to make sure that, you know, I'm sort of promoting and being able to give back like my own expertise and just getting involved with the things that they've got going on, any events and things like that, and just offering, you know, my knowledge and everything like that, and it's not something that I'm getting paid to do. It's something that I want to do because I'm passionate about it. So I think more is to come, more will start getting unveiled. But yeah, the best place to get in touch with me is on my Instagram, which you'll probably link in the show notes. And there's like, obviously I've got my website and everything like that. But yeah, that's like the main place. Always feel free to drop into my DMs and ask anything, ask any questions. But I don't know when this episode is going to go out. Are you going to try and get it out today?
Yes, I'm going to get some snippets of our conversation today because there's so many beautiful things you've said. I'd like to get some snippets out today. So
Yeah.
absolutely.
And so at the moment, I am going to be holding like a 4-week container for women that really want to step into who they came here to be and really embody her. So the program is called Becoming Her, and it starts on the 20th of October. And I'm calling in the women that are ready to rise and step into who they came here to be with that fierce, bold energy as I guide you and walk you through that process. It's going to be incredible. There's already a couple of women inside it. So yeah, I'm really, really excited to get started with that because I know how life-changing it's going to be.
Oh, that's so exciting. How amazing. Yeah, we'll definitely get that out in these posts today. I will link to your Instagram page. Is that where that is most?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
you can find
and
the link. Yeah.
sign up there. People can. That's amazing. That's so exciting. So as we close today, then, would you like to share maybe, do you think 3 kind of top tips for anyone that might be struggling right now, or 3 kind of key areas that you think might be important for people to hear?
Yeah, I think the first one is always check in with yourself and how you're feeling and what you need every single day before you start your day. And try and just be with yourself for a moment before you switch on your phone or scroll social media or go and make a coffee or whatever it is. See how you feel in that moment and what you need for that day and do something nice for yourself. Become aware of your self-talk. So if you catch yourself being critical of yourself, try and reframe it in the moment. It's going to take practice, but over time it will become more neutral. So if you call yourself really harsh things all of the time, become aware of it and know that you are not your thoughts. You're just the one that's experiencing them. So separate yourself from those thoughts. And then thirdly, just be yourself. The best thing that you can do in life is just be you, and the right people will gravitate towards you because the more inauthentic you're being, you're going to call in and attract the people that you probably don't want to be around. So just be yourself. Not everyone will like you, and that's okay. It doesn't mean to say it's anything about you. It could be just a clash of beliefs or values. So just make sure that you're being yourself, even when it feels hard, because there's no one else like you in this world, and you are worthy just as you are.
I love that so much. Absolutely. We're all such a unique, bright, beautiful light, aren't we? All here to
Yeah.
shine ultimately. So just shine would be one of mine.
Mhm.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you so much for your time today, Laura. Again, as always, it's been an absolute pleasure to spend time with you and to chat so openly and honestly and authentically. And I see you and I thank you for that.
Thank you. And thank you for having me. And thank you for trusting in me and sharing your own story too.
Ah, no problem at all. It's been a pleasure and I'll look forward to chatting with you again. Thank you so much.